Oh, what happened to humanity? You look at this world around you, you see a lot of silly things going on and wonder what happened. And I know a lot of people get into this blame, right? Oh, it's because of this specific political party, or it's because of this specific agenda that's about destroying humanity and only having a certain number of people on this planet, and the people that are in control, it's their fault. It could be true. Probably is true. But the point being that it's not about blaming. It's about being proactive. Seeing the issues, seeing the problems, what can we do about it, right? So in this video, I just want to share some of my insights of what some of the issues are. And I know I can probably get off into like the conspiratorial reasonings for why these issues exist. And I may mention some. But that's not the point. The point is to become aware. As we become aware, we can change. You are not powerless, right? These control structures that we have in place have no power without the people. A corporation may have a lot of money and have a lot of influence, but without the people buying their product, they have nothing. A government may, again, have made a lot of power and a lot of influence, but without the people listening and obeying these things, they have nothing. Seeing the power within you and the community at large, the people, that we the people outnumber those that think they're in charge, we can enact change. It's just about taking that action, and it's not about violence. It's not about burning things down to the ground. It's just about making a point and changing what you're doing. You don't like a company controlling you? Stop buying their product. If you don't like a government having authority over you and dictating everything for you, then don't listen to them. Say no. Really simple. So, some of the things that I've noticed to be of issue. So, education. Our education system, as most of you know, is extremely flawed. We're taught what to think, not how to think. We're taught a bunch of things that are kind of unnecessary in life, and not taught those that of which are necessary in life, right? How often do you use advanced algebra in your day-to-day life? Not often. How often are you confronted with emotional states that consume and overwhelm you and thus control and make it easier for you to make rational and unwise decisions in your life? Quite often, I'm sure. But we're not taught these things. We're not taught emotional intelligence, but we're taught advanced mathematics. History is a whole nother thing, right? History is written by the victor. It's its own vast form of manipulation and control of the psychology of the people, giving them a certain specific understanding of how history unfolded and withholding a vast amount of the truth that is there. I don't think I need to allude too much into our education system, but just by mentioning it, hopefully you understand that yes, our education system is flawed and direly needs to be restructured. Just to offer some insights, right? Like I said, emotional intelligence. You are not your emotions. Your emotions are guideposts. They are alluding to something, but we don't have to let them control us and allowing the way to act irrationally, right? They're guideposts. We can see them, gain some insight from them, but they don't have to control our actions. Thought awareness, right? You are not your thoughts. The ego is a construct of survivalship. It's the identity gleaned from the body. Teaching these things that you are not your thoughts, you are just a witness to your thoughts. You don't have to listen to them all the time, because oftentimes anymore they tend to be negative and detrimental to your own success. What else? Agriculture, learning how to grow your own food so you're not dependent on produce being in that supermarket that's down the road from you, and that you can actually be self-sustainable. If not self-sustainable, but at least helping you to be more self-sustainable by being able to grow your own food. Seems important. Food's kind of a thing here in this realm. Finance, that's not taught in our education system. It would behoove all of us to know how to make our wealth work for us, as opposed to, again, being dependent on a job to pay us regularly so that we always have the money to pay for the things that we need. If we can learn how to make the money work for us so that we're not heavily dependent on these jobs, it might be beneficial. Just a couple little things to throw out there at you as a new way to restructure our education system. And this is not an exhaustive list. This is only a couple of things, because I want to move on to next, right? Medicine, medical, health. I'm sure by now most people understand that the medical industry is exactly that. It is an industry. It is a business, profit mentality. To cure a patient is to lose the customer. The better business model is to sell Band-Aids so that people can keep coming to buy your goods. And better yet, better business model than that even is to profit off of disease-causing things, or things that destroy the health, making more people needing to buy the Band-Aids that you're selling, right? So we have fast food, we have soda, we have junk food, we have all this stuff, this crap, stuff in the water, things causing harm to the body, necessitating the need for the medical industry in and of itself, and the drugs that they peddle, and the Band-Aids they sell, right? I don't need to get much more into that. Look at the world around you, you can see some things. Not only profit from the creation of a problem, but also profit from the solution, right? The ultimate business model. That's the medical industry as a whole. Technological efficiency. If you have something that's efficient, you can't profit off of it. JP Morgan is famously quoted as saying, if I can't put a meter on it, I don't want it. Right? He said that to Nikola Tesla when Tesla was trying to tap into the ionosphere of planet Earth to gather electricity and energy. Thus, humanity not being dependent on coal, nuclear power, any kind of centralized form of creating electricity, right? There's an abundant amount of electricity here on Earth within the ether. We just tap into that. But you can't profit off of it. Again, we've been consumed by this profit mentality, and if we wish to better the human condition, we have to get past this. So changing that, recognizing and then changing that, right? Look at how vastly improved our computers and cell phones have become, but our engines, right, our dependency on oil and gasoline in the last 100 years it's gotten worse, right? Again, efficiency. Efficiency is not profitable, and so our engines, right, I believe it was the Chevy Nova back in the 60s or 70s that got 60 miles to the gallon, and now we struggle to get 30 miles to the gallon. What happened? We recognize that efficiency is not profitable, and to be more profitable, to make more money, we need less efficient technology. Right? Recognize these things, see these things, and upon seeing these things, we can actually work together to change these things. Right? What happened in humanity was this being consumed by greed and profit mentality. Human beings are not the parasites on this earth. The ego is the parasite, this self-serving attitude of survivorship, that I need to survive, and to survive I need to hoard all the resources for myself. I need to manipulate things so that I can collect more resources by making things less efficient, creating a lot of inefficient systems to, again, profit off of things. We look at the monetary, the financial system that has its own slew of issues that blockchain helps to solve. Cryptocurrencies, which will be a big part in the restructuring of our social infrastructure. Be sure of that. And with recognizing these things, we change them. Humanity is not the parasite. Ego is the parasite. As we come to do that stuff I mentioned originally with the emotional intelligence, and that we are not the mind, and that we have shadow work to do on, we get programmed to act certain ways, and if we change that programming, we change this mentality, right? Switching from profit mentality to the betterment of the human condition as a whole mentality, right? Seeing the wholeness of all things, and seeing how one person's livelihood affects all people's livelihood. And seeing that if we really want an efficient, productive society, it behooves of us to have an educated people, a healthy people, and people with the resources to do the things that they feel need to be done, right? If you have a certain idea or innovation in mind, if you don't have the resources to make that idea a reality, then what good is it, right? It's just going to be a failed attempt. Nothing's going to happen. That innovation or that new invention will forever remain a ghost because of the lack of ability provided by a society that wants to hoard everything for itself. Restructuring our mindset, seeing the shadows, seeing the fear that creates this dependency, and this dependency creating the control measures and authoritarianism and the straight up, I don't want to use that rough word, raping. That's the word, that's the only word that's coming to mind, but basically raping the human population for the benefit of a select few. Right? Seeing that the people have the power, seeing that these things can be changed relatively easy, and just enacting, taking the action for this change. I'm running out of steam, so hopefully that's offered you some insight. Hopefully you can hear it. There's a lot of noise. I'm in a cafe. There's a lot of other people talking, but hopefully this was good and gave you some insights and some things to ponder and think about. With that, I leave you. Much love, and see you next time.